Recording in progress. All right. Hi, Melanie.
Hi,
I'm
Heidi.
so excited. Oh, and I just have to state up top that I have your permission to record and to share this. So thank you for that. This is a normal session for your purposes. Hopefully this won't feel any different for you, but for my purposes, this is like a teaching session. So I might, as I'm doing things, I might just be sort of calling out to anyone who's watching, sort of explaining what I'm doing or explaining my thought process. But it shouldn't impact your experience
Thank you for
much
my.
at all. And I'm so excited. I feel like every session starts this way where I'm like, this is really fun. Like before the session even begins, I start, getting stuff, messages are coming in. And so it's always kind of fun to start there and be like, oh, all right, we're getting a little bit of a picture of what we're gonna walk through. But the first of all, I think it's interesting, and you just went through this with me while I was trying to do some tech before we started, but I always play music during a session, certainly during an in-person session and also during a Zoom session, because as we go through this, I might pause and I'll do some clearing or whatever and invite you to close your eyes and have kind of like a meditative moment. And so I like music playing while we're doing that. But this has never happened to me before. I got like a no on the music, which is interesting because for anyone watching, Melanie is very musical. So it's like even doubly puzzling that it was just a hard no on playing music. So I'm like, okay, I'm trusting that. And we're not going to have any music. And, we've done these together before many times. So I guess your body is just like, I don't need music. Let's do this. I don't know what that's about. Are you feeling sensitive to music these days?
No.
That's so
I have a
interesting.
lot of music stuff coming up.
Really?
My voice, my chest, my breathing. So yeah.
Oh, interesting. Like feeling, can you elaborate on that?
Like feeling like I need more breath support. I need more practice and like vocally, more strengthening my vocal cords. Like it's feeling very fatigued. Very fatigued. Where I don't want to sing because I'm feeling so fatigued.
It's so funny that like just came in. This is like kind of sweet. So yes, all of that feels true to why I'm not supposed to play music. And it was it's almost like a little like you have a personal assistant who just like whispered in my ear and was like, if you play music, Melanie will want to sing, but like, no, we need her to rest. Which is so funny because I would just be playing like some sort of meditation music, but it was just like any music will like awaken that in her, but we need her to rest. And so, okay, so no music. We're prioritizing rest.
Funny. I was playing music yesterday and I really wanted to sing. And I was just like feeling like I couldn't. And it was aggravating me. So I wonder if that's coming through today.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, that they're like, it'll just upset her.
Yeah.
So no music. We won't tempt you. Why upset you unnecessarily? Oh, that's so funny. I love that. Okay, so the other thing that came up for me, because I always, when I do this in person, I pull in a lot of aromatherapy. It feels like a little bit of a tease to be doing this during the Zoom sessions because you don't get to experience the aromatherapy as I do. But I still, as I use the oils on myself, we know by now that like you get the benefit of them too. So I still, even with Zoom sessions, like to pull them in. And that's always a fun little like pregame before I start a session. It's just like go to the oils and see like who's talking to me, which one wants to come forward. And I really do like literally go. I have a big tray with like all my oils in a tray, and I literally will just be like, hello, I'm here, who wants to play? And I didn't even have to go to it. I was like, oh, I should go choose an oil. And before, I didn't even need to leave the spot I was in like a completely different part of the house, and it was just like myrrh, which, oh, I feel this like it feels like very just bittersweet. Like it feels very heavy, but it also feels like, of course, very healing. Like there's this promise of healing, but myrrh, and it's like making me emotional even just to explain this, but it's really like the maternal oil. It's really the oil of like divine feminine. Um, and so great for like awakening the feminine and like supporting our feminine, man, woman, non-binary, whatever. Just we all have a feminine aspect to us, but it also it really speaks very distinctly to like motherhood. And so it just feels like we're going to be getting into that a little bit and addressing some of that. And it also, I use Reiki, but there's also another modality that I like to pull in that often people aren't familiar with, which is a modality called BodyTalk. And that one is much more, it really speaks more deeply to like physiology. When I'm doing Reiki, I'm walking through the chakra system. When I'm doing BodyTalk, I'm really like, we're looking at the entire body and the systems of the body and getting very specific with like imbalances in the body and getting back into alignment. And so I have this like chart here that anyone is welcome to see. And it basically like lays out the entire body, and I can just kind of go through different systems, and we can get real granular. I mean, it could be like we're dealing with like blood cells or something. Like, I don't know, it's whatever your body wants me to do. But so I always take a glance at this just to kind of feel into like, okay, where are we going, like in the body, what body? And it was just immediately like ovaries, done. And which is interesting because chart wise, the ovaries are separate from the uterus. And so I like judged it as we do. And I was like, wait a minute. Do you mean uterus? And it was like, no, ovaries, which I thought was really interesting. And so I want to like explore that a little more. But also what I got is a relationship between your ovaries and your adrenals. And so there's something about like adrenal fatigue, and which is not surprising. I'm sure that it's been a very stressful time. But yeah, there's this like consciousness of motherhood. And then also it's so interesting because it almost feels like there's sort of this parallel. I guess none of this is surprising. It's almost like this fusion of you and your ovaries and your adrenal fatigue, and like your mom and her ovaries and her adrenal fatigue. And it feels like there's this crazy fusion where we have to kind of like, we're gonna have to like dig you out of that and separate you from whatever, like there is a piece of this that isn't yours, that you've just kind of like inherited from her. So I have to like dig into that a little bit and see what that's about. But that's very interesting because apparently this is going to be the motherhood session. There's like so many layers of motherhood coming up already, which is really, really interesting. And then there is another layer of this, which is sort of like the like cosmic mother, divine mother. And it feels very distinctly like that there is a what is the right word, like a longing, I guess, to be calling in divine support, but specifically like a feminine aspect of that, like a feminine, very distinctly feminine version of that, which is really interesting because I wonder, I don't know, we don't talk much about, I know that you have like a relationship with a higher power, but I don't really know exactly what that looks like for you. And do you have a sense of like, do you attach anything like visual, or have you sort of fleshed out like what your higher power looks like? Are there any particular like characteristics? Do you think of it as masculine or feminine or anything?
I think that I have always thought of it as masculine just because I was raised more Catholic, even though we weren't very religious. But when I think about a higher power, it's more like this bright light of the universe that just like a star almost that connects us all,
Hmm.
um, like bright light. And I do sometimes think of like that earthly mother's love. Um, so sometimes, but I think that there's more of a disconnect between looking for the maternal love,
Mm-hmm.
higher power.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm so glad you just said like earthly mother's love, because that just, it was like, oh yes, it just felt like yes please, yes please, yes please, like this sort of craving for like that real like earth mother. Because that's interesting. So now it's like we're getting it from both sides. There's like this call for like a cosmic, you know, maternal presence and assistance, but then also being like anchored from below, like in like earth mother earth, mother nature. So yeah, that's really interesting. It feels, and it, the mother earth part of it feels like you almost like that is like you are being encouraged to lean into the mother earth within you, if that makes any sense, like this sort of like I don't know, just that very very like earthy maternal in you, um which can be nurtured literally by just engaging with mother earth, you know, like real like deep connection with nature. um and I know that you are very like natural, you know, you have a very like clean lifestyle and you are very like dedicated to natural living anyway, so like that is definitely already a part of your lifestyle. um so but it's interesting, it feels like there's a call. I mean, I just see you as like this like goddess in the forest, but it's like a, have you ever been to Big Sur?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Big Sur is, what kills me about Big Sur is that it's like, to me, it is just paradise because it's like forest on the water somehow. To me, it's just like this freakish place that has like the best of everything. So you can be in this beautiful forest and then like it drops, like you just have these amazing, you're like looking over the ocean, which is incredible. So it feels like that. It's like you're this like forest nymph, like earth mother, but there's like the ocean like in the background, like this like you also kind of like command the tides, like all these things. So it, yeah, it feels like I guess anything you can do to be really like engaging with nature, which I know you spend a lot of time outside, but I guess it's just bringing a certain spirit and intention to it where it's just like I am, I have roots in the ground. I am, there's no separation between me and the entire natural world. And like, and I guess really, I suppose what we're calling in today is that there is like a power that is available to you, that maybe it feels almost like the not that the cord has been cut, but like it's a little frayed, like the connection is a little wonky, so it's like getting you back online almost as like this incredible empowered like mother earth. uh yeah, and just how that power, how being reconnected to the earth, and I mean really, like it just feels like your feet, if your feet had like roots that went all the way down to like the center of the earth and the core of the earth, which I will just say that this is like scientifically proven that the earth, the energy of the earth, like it like hums at the same frequency as love, which is like, I mean, that just makes me want to weep like for all eternity. That our earth literally is like is love, which is incredible. So it just feels like there are these like roots in your feet that go like all the way down to this like perfect core, this like beautiful unconditional love, like core of the earth, and like that just drawing power from that drawing power from that unconditional love is just like, oh, like it feels like that piece relates to the adrenal fatigue, where like it's just gonna take so much pressure off. Like you just don't have to do so much, and you don't have to seek out things to fuel you and energize you and nourish you, because there's gonna be like this just this constant flow of energy that you are receiving um, from the earth. This all sounds crazy, but does that make any sense? Okay.
It makes total sense. It doesn't
Okay,
sound crazy at all. It all resonates.
so we're basically like plugging you back into this like limitless energy source, and the energy that you are sourcing is unconditional love. So it's just like this amazing, energizing, unconditional love that will like fuel all of your endeavors and take a lot of pressure off of you, and you get to just like exist and be a channel for this love. And I guess all of that is possible just by engaging with the natural world, which is not a bad prescription. So yeah, it's like when you're outside, or I don't even want to task you with doing anything, because that seems contrary to trying to heal the adrenal fatigue. So we want you to do less, we want you to do less things, but it's almost like you don't even really need to do anything. You don't have to think, there's no like homework to do. It's just that there will be sort of a renewed, like upgraded relationship with the natural world now, so that when you are out and about and engaging with the natural world, and that could even be just like a plant in your house, like anything, when you are engaging with like any part of the natural world, that there's just going to be, you're going to be you will just naturally be like sourcing so much more energy. It's almost like that's funny, I'm getting this consciousness of like absorption, and it feels like maybe there's something to that physiologically as well, where maybe absorption of like minerals and nutrients has been compromised. I'm gonna write that down. So we're just repairing that as well, so that anything you are doing, and it feels like this will relate also to like food and like anything you're consuming, that there will be improved absorption, which I know is really extra important right now as you've been battling some like health stuff, and need every nutrient you can get. Let's see. I'm just writing some stuff down for anyone watching. It helps me. It's just like rapid fire input, so it helps me to kind of write some stuff down and organize it on paper. Because when we do these balances, sometimes there is like rather a formula to it, and things that we're doing, and we want things to be done in a particular order. So I just like to get those down. And this is where music would play and kind of like fill in for me. So it's funny that no music today. All right, let's see. I want to go back and think about your mom stuff a little more too, and like ask about that a little bit. Adrenal fatigue. I think all of this is absorption. What else did I say? So it's interesting, because this is really connecting to some root chakra, like that real like earth mother stuff. It feels like that's a lot of root chakra support, which also, root chakra, which is, when we deal with the different chakras, root chakra is the first one, and it's really like the base of our spine, essentially, and like legs and feet, kind of moving down through like legs and feet. So it really is like that part of us that literally like connects to the ground, and energetically that's kind of where our like connection to the earth and our human experience lives. Whereas like the other end, like crown chakra, the top of our head, is really like that sort of portal to the divine. And so yeah, root chakra is, anytime we can be supporting we're called to support the root chakra, it usually has something to do with like stability, stabilizing you, and also safety issues. And that seems to be what's coming up as well, as we're doing all of that, and like really reestablishing that connection to the earth, that it is also naturally going to result in like a deeper sense of safety and just like ultimately less doing. That feels like an overall an overarching theme. Less doing, more receiving. All right, yeah. And so then we're going to throw in some heart chakra too, the receiving center, where all the receiving, especially in regards to like that unconditional love. And it does feel like that left side, which is the maternal. Left is always like feminine stuff, maternal stuff, and right.
It's 16:30.
Oh, was that me?
That was my computer.
Okay, thank you, computer. It's 4:30. Let's maternal. Okay, so let me see. Is there anything you want to say about any of this that's like coming up for you while I'm blabbering?
No, there's so much. When you said the personal assistant whispered in your ear, there's like, I have a personal advisor like that in my therapy sessions.
Oh, I love it.
Comes up, and she's the one that kind of protects my energy like from the outside world. So it was really interesting when you said like you had like a personal assistant or somebody whispered in your ear, like, no, that upset her. Like looks out for my best interest. So it was just really crazy that you saw that you heard that.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
That was really interesting.
I mean, I will say, when I do sessions with people, there are all kinds of little like angels and guides who come forward. But yeah, saying personal assistant like that is so specific. And I can't say I never really like, I haven't ever connected to it in that way before, which is so funny. So your personal advisor, she whispered in my ear.
Yep.
Like,
she protects my energy.
No, Melanie won't be having music today. Thank you. Like, okay.
That's exactly how she is too. Like she's very assertive. Like there's no like flowery stuff with her. She's just like, no, or yes, or it's very hurt. So that was really interesting, even the way you described how she said it to you. Like that definitely sounds like her. Yes. So
that's so funny. I mean, she was very polite. I don't feel any like aggression. She just is very protective and very like matter of fact.
That's the best part about her, is she doesn't ever need to be aggressive.
Yeah.
She just is so centered and just powerful in that centeredness that no, that's not going to happen today.
I love that. I love that because I really like have such a specific image in my head where it's like this like young woman in like a power suit with like files in her arms and just like sticking her head in the door and like, no, thank you. That won't be happening today. Melanie's not doing music today. Thank you so much. It's just like, okay.
In a blue power suit.
I love that. Yeah, it is like a bluish gray actually.
That's her.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
You're always so tapped in.
That is hilarious to me. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
And then you said something about the knot, or not the knot. You said the cord, like the connection to the mother.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really interesting was my sister gave birth on Friday to a little baby boy, and there was an actual knot in his cord.
Oh my gosh.
A knot like you would tie in a rope. And luckily he's fine. Everything's fine. It wasn't too tight, but an actual knot is very, very rare to ever have. So when you said something about the cord, and like maternally, because it's my sister and just, my mom and the adrenals and everything. My sister also has fatigue, chronic fatigue, Epstein-Barr. She's the one that has the tachycardia.
Yeah.
But she gave birth to a healthy baby boy. But when you said that cord connection, I was like, oh, even with her own baby, there's something with the cord, like,
yeah.
So that was really interesting, that theme, that synchronistic theme.
Well, and it's crazy when you just said, there was a knot in the cord, but he's okay, and I just got this like, yes, just like that. And so it's almost like, yes, your connection has been compromised, but you're okay, like you still have been able to get, in that way, it's like Mother Earth, like higher power, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it, like we're never going to get cut off completely. Like they just won't have it. Like they're going to find a way, and they're never going to abandon. But yeah, it's like, oh shoot, there's a knot. And so we just have to just like remedying that. But I love that, because that does feel like that idea of like the umbilical cord, and how we essentially have like an umbilical cord to Mother Earth, like an umbilical cord to, our spiritual source. And yeah, it can get knotted, it can get kinked, all the things, but it's there, like we're always connected. That connection will never, the cord itself, like, will never be fully compromised or severed. It's just that sometimes there's like a little kink that we need to work out. I love that. That's so interesting. It's funny because when you were talking about your sister, I was like, is this about her sister? And it's like, no, it's their mom. But, we're all connected. So of course, everybody's in the same boat together. So I'm sure that her energy is in this as well. But as far as like the priority and what we're trying to heal today, it's like, oh no. Oh, it's funny. Actually, just as I was talking, it was like, no, her sister is supportive. Like that's like a maternal, feminine that I guess is like a source of nourishment. Not to like throw your mom under the bus today, but it just feels like there's a call for healing there, where there is not necessarily a call for healing with your sister. But let me see, there's something there, because the ovaries, it's interesting because I asked, I was like, uterus? And it was like, no, ovaries. There's something about the word potential is coming to me, like ovaries hold all of our eggs, they hold all the potential. Oh, so there's something about your mom and this idea of potential and what is possible. Almost like you've been not separated from it, but what is the word? It's almost like she's like standing on your ovaries or something. Like there's this, like I said before, there's a sense of fusion, and I just keep like pushing my hands together, like there's a pressure. It's very, very pressured, and it feels almost like we just need her to, we gotta get her off your ovaries. She's like stepping on them, and it's almost like she doesn't even mean to. I just had that. This is such a ridiculous parallel, but like my cat, who I love so much, he's a big baby, he's giant, he does not understand his size. And then I have a teeny tiny dog, as you know, and he just is like not aware of his body, and so he'll fully just stand on her, like he's just living his life, and he'll just like step on her and stand on her, and she's like, what is happening? I can't breathe, and he's just like completely unaware. He's just like watching a bird out the window or something, and I'm like, can you not crush the dog? You have so much square footage, you could go anywhere, like can you not step on her? Anyway, so it has that energy to it, where it's like not malicious. It's just that somehow in the midst of living her life, your mom has managed to just park herself like on your ovaries, and it's like it's like suffocating them. And so we just need to like politely ask her to find somewhere else to stand. Let's see. This is also interesting because I know you shared recently that you had a particularly like brutal period recently. So it feels like that's related as well. Did that came while you were home with your family, didn't it?
Started the first day I landed. First day I got there, I landed.
Was it on schedule? Was it supposed to come that day? Do you know? Doesn't really matter.
No, I think it was later. It was supposed to come up earlier.
So waited until you were with your family. All right, so we're gonna grant again. It's just like releasing more pressure. Feels like a lot of this. There's like a theme here of just like taking pressure off of you. And it feels like that will impact adrenal fatigue as well. That, you know, like when one part of the body is stressed, it's all stressed, which is so beautiful. You know, the body is very there's a lot of solidarity in the body in that way. Where it's like if one of us is going down, we all go down. So it feels, again, there's that relationship in so many different ways. We're seeing like this relationship with like ovaries and adrenal fatigue, and it feels like releasing that mom piece. It really feels like, it's so interesting. The word emancipation just came to me. We're like emancipating you from your mother, but like specifically your ovaries. We're emancipating your ovaries today. I wonder, that's interesting because that feels like there's something there with, you know, when you were a teenager. And did you ever have the inclination to emancipate from your family? Was that ever something? I know you have such a legal mind. Did that ever occur to you?
Honestly, no, because I have a lot of abandonment around my family. You know, they moved out of an apartment and left me there when I was 16. So I didn't need to emancipate from them legally. I just always felt really separate. It didn't really feel like
Yeah.
I always wanted to be part of them. I was always
Yeah.
to be part of them. So, or really desiring to be part of them. So I don't ever remember wanting to be emancipated, but I do remember wanting to, you know, get out and get away.
Yeah, it's like this push pull, like wanting to get out, but wanting to be.
Well, just wanting them to be different, just wanting them to love me and like have me be part of them.
Yeah.
So, you know, the part of me that wanted to get away was the part that didn't want to deal with the dysfunction and the volatility and the violence. And, you
Yeah.
know, that was the part that wanted to get away. So it was like push pull.
Yeah, but there's like an element of just like survival in that, where it's not a true, like, you don't really want to emancipate. It's just a survival. It's just like, I want to get away because I just need to breathe, you know? It's interesting because it feels like there is something around that particular, like when you were like given that separate apartment and essentially like kicked out. It's almost like there was this, it's almost like your mom saw that as like an emancipation, that it's weird. It feels like there was like a jealousy or something, like, oh, Queen Melanie gets her own place or something like that. And I don't know that she was even, it feels like maybe she wasn't even conscious of it. It's just like a little something in her, and like a grief for her as well. Like almost like admiring you or something, like kind of wishing that she, how do I say this? What is she feeling? Like a wishing she could trade places, which is interesting. And so it's almost like her wishing, her sort of like romanticizing your experience of that, and then and like attaching to you, if that makes any sense, like kind of like energetically attaching to you as a, like kind of wanting to like, this all sounds terrible. Like I'm trying to choose my words because it makes your mom sound like this like energy vampire, but I promise, like, you know, we have much love and respect for your mom. It's just what, you know, we're just clearing shit. It's fine. But it does have this like what is that called when leeches, like it has like a leeching quality to it, where she's just wanting, like she sees you as this like free person, and so trying to like leech, live vicariously through you, and somehow like I guess because there is that sort of like fusion and enmeshment, then like you on an energetic level like you know re- receive that, and so it was like, again, it's like this weird like energy like depleting your energy on like all these different levels of like your power source being compromised, your energy being depleted, like all of this, and it feels like, yeah, I guess, I mean, maybe energy vampire is like the perfect phrase for it, that it was just like her sort of like envy of you during that time, like kind of like pulled energy from you, if that makes any sense. This all sounds terrible, but much love to your mom, who, she didn't ask for any of this. She's not doing any of it intentionally. um does any of that make sense?
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because I think the enmeshment is really, I didn't see it. I didn't see that there was a lot of enmeshment. But my mom had me very young, so I kind of grew up with her, and I had a lot of the responsibility for the family with her. And I think that I was really trying to be my own person, but I never had that support around being my own person. It was more like, oh, you're abandoning us, not, oh, you're growing up and you need, you need to do these things for yourself. So yeah, I remember when I got into college, that was 3.5 hours away. Like, she was not happy about it. She
Mm.
wasn't proud of me because that meant I was leaving. Um, and it didn't feel like, oh, I'm going to miss you leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I love you. That's really amazing. I'm going to miss you so much. It felt more like, really, you're leaving me here like this?
Mm-hmm.
So I've always had this really, that when you say like that pressing, like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, this connection that if I leave and do anything good for myself, I'm harming my mom, I'm harming my family.
Mm-hmm. And you are, in a sense, because of this like faulty sort of power grid, which, oh, this is so crazy because I just remembered that your dad's an electrician, right? So it's like this family system is like this power grid that's been installed that is like really dysfunctional. And so kind of like we're rewiring the power grid and the power sources, which is so crazy because it does feel like your dad is in this a little bit, but it's interesting that you're in a sense, by doing anything for yourself and like individuating from your family, it's not even your family so much as your mom, that she, like, you're her power source. And so for you to separate and basically like flip the switch on the power, yeah, that like on an energetic level she's like freaking out, and she spirals into survival mode because now basically like her food source is gone, so that's really interesting. This is definitely, there's like a it's like a parallel healing for your mom happening, which like, ooh, just as I said that, like made me really emotional, and like, ooh, like throat stuff, which is all like, it feels like self-expression stuff. Like authenticity. Hmm. And there's something you said about your mom, that she had you very young, and it feels like is uh, that is playing into this sort of like jealousy, envy, her sort of watching you with this I want to say wistfulness, but it isn't. It's like an envy of like everything you get to be that she didn't get to be, or everything you get to have that she didn't get to have. And you know, there's like this freedom theme that she just perceives you as this person who is just like free and gets whatever she wants. And she, there's like this envy there. And then on your end, you're having this experience of like, you know, pressure and abandonment. Like it doesn't feel free at all on your end. You feel totally imprisoned by this like family system. So yeah, and like getting no support from her in that. And then she thinks you're crazy for being upset about anything, because she's like, what do you have to complain about? You're totally free. You know, like you're living this like it seems like she has this is very sort of like this fantasy filter when she looks at your life. Like she just sees that you're living this like blissful, fantastical life that she never got to have, and like not in reality about what your actual experience is.
That feels very true.
Oh yeah.
That feels very true. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest pieces is I really struggle with abandonment. I mean, I didn't know that about myself. It's something I've learned over the last couple of years about how that's a very underlying driving force in my life, is this abandonment piece. And when I was just home over the holidays and I said something about being abandoned, she kind of scoffed at me like, oh, this abandonment thing, get over it. And it's like my core wound. And just that very flippant, like get over it. It's
which
like,
is abandonment.
that is like the gaping hole in me that I'm always trying to fill so I can feel whole,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just having that like very, I don't know, dismissive attitude about it. Like, I don't want to hear about this anymore. Just get over it. Like that's the very piece that makes it so hard, because it's like, if you could validate my experience, that would help fill the hole.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, I have to learn every day how to get by without your validation for any of my experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes me struggle so hard. Oh, it makes me cry.
Oh. Yeah. I mean, feel free to cry. If you want to just like close your eyes and breathe for a minute. And I'll just clear some stuff. It feels like a lot of like heart stuff that just came up. It's like on the left side of the heart. It's like this, like glass, like really like a broken heart, but like shattered, like this fragile, fragile, fragile heart that's shattered. But I will just say, and if you can take some deep breaths, like really sigh them out and kind of engage your throat a little bit. You know, the shattering always leads to rebuilding. So just acknowledging that shattered heart. And the next piece is to call in the ever present, eternal, maternal, unconditional maternal love that is available. And so we're also just opening that crown chakra, but also just inviting you to feel like on that left side of your heart. Just feeling it open, feeling expansion there. Feeling a beautiful spaciousness, transitioning from emptiness and abandonment to spaciousness. There's a different consciousness to emptiness in the heart versus spaciousness in the heart. And so just feeling the heart really open and like double in size, all this space created, beautiful unconditional maternal love to enter and fill. Just feeling like receiving love from the entire infinite cosmos and the natural world that you are a part of, just feeling love from all sides, like magnetizing it to you. Drawing it to you through that left side of your heart and just feeling it fill with this like constant steady stream of love, like just warm pink glowing. I see it's like glitter love. It's like beautiful warm pink maternal love filling up your heart. And feeling the warmth of it spread through your chest and your shoulders, your back, up into your throat, down into the rest of your body. Every inhale, just inhaling this beautiful maternal love, inviting it to settle there in your heart, installing this permanent maternal presence. Ooh, and I just saw, it's interesting, this like little cord, almost like a vein that goes right down from that heart to your ovaries. So there's like this connection to both of those, and then just feeling in your abdomen filled with that maternal love, nourishing your abdomen and your ovaries and all the potential that resides there. Not only potential for in this like physical realm for having children, but just like your own personal potential and the potential of your gifts and talents. So pulling in some sacral chakra too, which lives in the abdomen there. And that's really like the seat of like life force and creativity, all things creative. And so specifically bringing maternal love to that part of you, which is so interesting because it feels like there's a real longing for maternal encouragement and maternal support of your hopes and dreams and ambitions and creative pursuits. And so just bringing that maternal love there too, and flooding you with maternal love there. So it feels like your ovaries, like they house, eggs for creating children and new life, like in this human experience. But there's also, it feels like there are also sort of parallel ovaries for your creative life and your like artistic life and just like your hopes and dreams and gifts and talents. And so just like nourishing as I'm like talking about it, it's like they can see it's almost like they were sort of dehydrated, like everybody was a little thirsty. And this like maternal love is just like, woo, like hydrating everything. It just feels like it's like all like plumped up and hydrated and energized and ready to go. But also just bringing in this idea, sort of installing this ever-present maternal like voice, and it's like a cheerleader, like a mom who's like in the bleachers at a game, just being like, go honey, I love you, like yes, go, like cheering you on. And like the mom, I don't know if you ever like played any sports or just in any of like the activities that you did as a kid, but you know how the moms always like volunteer and they like bring refreshments or they help to like sew the theater costumes or whatever. Feels like we're pulling in like that mom for you. And this is where it's sort of circling back to when I asked you about your concept of a higher power, and really bringing like a feminine, sort of creating like a distinctly feminine, like higher power, God, spirit, source, whatever for you. It feels like it's important to connect with a really specifically like feminine. So I don't know, you can play around with like what that looks like to you and what sort of age it is or whatever, but it feels like a mom. Like if we could give you like the ideal unconditionally loving, like rah 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 cosmic mom, like what would that look like, and like what are some things she would say to you? And it might be fun to just, I don't know, put those on some like post-its or index cards or something. But I just see like clapping and cheering, and she's like, wearing the t-shirt with your face on it, like she's just like, yes Melanie, yes yes yes, like, like
hours.
and oh, thank you computer.
On my computer.
But it's so cute where she's just like, I love you, almost like, the mom who's like so enthusiastic it's like embarrassing, but you kind of love it. It's so cute where she's just like, I love you Melanie, you're on the field like, okay mom, thank you. Like, but so sweet, so sweet. So yeah, just like this cosmic maternal force that is just like, I see your dreams, you're awesome, you can do anything. And is like so ready, so at your service to like make it happen. And so if there's anything that's really like on your heart that you're wanting to ask for help with, that there's like this cosmic mom you can kind of curl up in and go to and just ask her for her help with whatever it is that you're going through. But specifically if you're going through something that you just like, I really wish I had a mom for this, you do. So yeah, is there anything that you see as we're talking about this? Do you have an image of anything?
It's funny that when you just started talking about the mom clapping and like, celebrating me, and it's something I always wanted. Like my mom didn't come to any of my school functions or any of my performances or anything that I did. So I remember just like feeling really sad and seeing the other parents in the audience and just like feeling less important. And then I thought of like any of the things that they actually did come to and how it was always a really big fight before they showed up for me. And as you were just talking about this, I started to make this correlation between my relationship and my parental like relationship, about how in order to get like all the words are there, like we love you, you can do anything, we're so proud of you, but like the actions aren't there that actually show me like I'm here, I support you, you're important, unless I fight for it. And only when I'm like fighting and breaking down and crying and vulnerable is it like, how could you think that we don't love you, or how could you think that I don't love you? And like, okay, now I'll come through, like, but it always, like I have to be so broken first in order for anyone to come through, which is interesting.
Yeah. So it feels like this is disrupting that, and that the message is like, oh my gosh, no, you don't have to do anything, you don't even have to ask. There's like that mom that like you like, she'll go find out, she'll find out when your game is, she wants to know, like, and if you forgot the paper, or like, at home, it's in your desk at school or whatever, and she's like, Melanie, what time is your show? What time is your like choral performance on Saturday? And you're like, I don't know, like, she's like, well, then I'm just going to call other parents, or I'm going to call the school or whatever, like, so you don't have to do anything. Like she is on it. Or even just like, surprising you at something, you didn't expect her to attend, but she like shows up and like surprises you because she just wanted to see like what you were up to and be supportive. And so it's like, yeah, again, I love this stuff because it's just like over and over in all these different ways, like we're getting this message of like, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to fight, you don't have to do anything. That yeah, there is this like maternal higher power that just wants to like, oh my gosh, it's just like gushing over you, like just wants to smother you and is so proud of you and just like loves hearing about your hopes and dreams and loves to nurture your talents and give you opportunities to use your gifts and talents and all this stuff. There was something else. It's funny because when we first were talking about ovaries, like I thought this was going to go a very different way, but it feels like this relates. What am I saying? I feel bad because I know we're recording, so I feel bad that there's like downtime, but I have to look at this for a second. Maybe time. Feels like time. That they're like time scarcity. Which I guess this shouldn't surprise me. We've talked about this stuff before, but time scarcity around like, is time running out for me to have kids? Or like, just is time running out for me to, have the career I want to have and things like that. And it feels like the two go hand in hand because they're both, it's like, it's the ovaries for the like physical child stuff. And it's like sacral chakra for the like energetic creative stuff. Like they both go hand in hand. So yeah, we're just sort of disrupting those scarcity fears. That no, actually there's abundance. There is abundance there, which also feels like that's funny. Just in saying that word abundance, it was like I just saw, it's like I could feel it on my right cheek. It was like, it's as if saying the word abundance that we just like, it's like you slapped your mom across the face, like so hard. It's so crazy. I can like feel it on my cheek, like burning and just like, oh, that's so sad. It's so sad that the word abundance would be violent for her.
A message my mom has always really, really instilled in us is you don't get everything. You don't get everything. So like, if you have any sort of abundance, like financially, well, then you don't have healthy kids.
There's a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Or if you get healthy kids, well, you might not be abundant, like financially abundant, but look, you have healthy children. So God doesn't give you everything.
Ooh, that's huge. Because it's not true. Wow, yeah, to be able to reverse that.
Very subconscious belief, like for my own.
It just feels like, oh my God, do you have like head pain? It feels like, oh my God, it's like your head just like blew open. That's crazy. Because yes, God actually does give you everything. Or there is, again, potential. I just love this word that keeps coming up. Potential to have everything. Yeah, absolutely. Whew.
It also is very like,
I feel like dizzy. That's crazy. I feel like it's like my head. That just made me like woozy, which is awesome. Yes, that you can have everything, that you, not just you can have everything, that still puts conditions on it. You get to have everything. Like it's just like this, like an all you can eat buffet. Like always. It's an all you can eat, infinite all you can eat buffet. Like it is your birthright to have it all. Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was crazy.
No, that's one of the hardest things about my mom is I feel like her belief systems are just what they are, and I cannot, we bump up against each other if I say anything that I believe differently or I want to believe differently, or, with anything, whether it has to do with how the body has the ability to heal itself, energetically, or I don't know, just lots of different things. It's like that constant, she knows everything, and if you think anything differently than what she does, you're stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really difficult to have my own opinions because there's always like a little voice in the back that's saying, mom's always right.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can take that risk, but you're stupid for doing so. You're just going to fail, and she's going to be right. So it's hard to step into a different belief system and really stay there.
That's where it's so interesting. Also, when you said step into a different belief system, and I just heard again, like, no, like, again, just taking, I want to find a way to rephrase that because it still feels like that puts pressure on you. Oh my gosh, I can like feel it in my shoulders, where it's just like the pressure to rewire yourself, the pressure to, step into a different way of being, and like, and so you're not responsible for that. You just get to sit and cry, and you will be delivered. This is so funny. So I can see your like little personal advisor again, and it's like she has you by the arm and she's like ushering you. So I just love the idea that like, and also there's something about like the personal advisor, and like, and there's almost this quality of like luxury to it. Maybe it's also just more of this abundance piece, but it's almost like, how like super wealthy people, like they don't actually need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
people just lead them where they need to go. It's like, you have a 4:00, so and so is on the phone, here's your mail, I opened it and sorted it for you, just can you look at this page, like all of that. So it just feels like your like personal advisor, like that's what you get to have, just this like beautiful support system that's just like, I got this. You don't need to strategize on how to like step into this new way of being. I'll take you where you need to go, and she's on it. She's on like she's in charge of the logistics and you just get to feel. So I love that. You have a lot. I love this like team of women that is being cultivated, that you have this like wonderful personal advisor, and then you have this like awesome spiritual mom that's like cheering you on. But then there was another piece, I just never in a million years, and this, I can't say I've ever really had this come up. I mean, certainly family members find their way into healings all the time. But this feels very distinctly like we are simultaneously like doing a healing for your mom as we're doing a healing for you. And so I don't know what that's going to mean for her, but it feels like you kind of can't do yours without also doing one for her, which is so interesting. So it's just like, okay, take care of her, and then she can step aside, and then so much will just like fall into place by taking care of her. So like there's these belief systems, I guess that's part of that enmeshment too, is that like her belief systems are your belief systems, and your belief systems, like there's an opportunity here to kind of like do an ancestral sort of healing, like to do a generational healing where like as you step into new belief systems, it's sort of like the beautiful side of enmeshment. I guess maybe enmeshment is the wrong word. It's just that's how the connection is designed to be, so not this like toxic enmeshment where she's like brainwashed you, but like no, we're shifting into mother-daughter connection and just this flow, like this flow of energy and healing and love. And so as you move into new belief systems, we're sort of setting up this this channel, this like if this then that, like I see it as like a what am I trying to say? It's this like a technological thing. This is like such a dumb example, but I was setting up something in my business today where like if a person opts into this thing, like an email automatically fires, like that kind of thing. So we're like, it's like we're installing this, this programming so that as you are healing, like indirectly, it's like trickling down up to your mom as well, which I love. So you really are healing for both of you, which is so beautiful. And without any effort, there's nothing you like need to do. You're not responsible for her healing. It's an inevitable part of your own like ascension. Which might not look pretty, I will say, we don't know. Like it might be very painful for her. Healing can be painful. So I don't know what that will mean for your relationship, but there is healing somewhere in that, in your dynamic and in your interactions. You get to have it all. Yeah. Wow, that abundance piece is so crazy. Just that, like, it's like she's offended. Like she's offended by the idea of abundance. I suppose because she doesn't see that it's true for her. So it's like defensive to even suggest it because it's not a real thing.
Or you're not a good person if you have abundance.
Or abundant. Yeah.
Like there's nobility in the struggle.
Yeah.
Being a good person. But it's things easily, it's not deserved or something. I don't know. It's just a lot. I'm sure it's rooted in Catholicism. Like you have nothing and be grateful for nothing. Struggle.
Yes. Yeah. And certainly for anyone, watching this, this is not like a comment on Catholicism, but just the reality of, institutions and belief systems and things that we absorb, messaging that we absorb, whether or not it's intended, but yeah, absorbing messaging around like, it is noble to struggle. It's noble to sacrifice, take care of others before yourself. And, that is what a charitable heart is. And there is virtue in having, that charitable heart and all those things. It's interesting because when I said, that it's offensive to suggest abundance to her is offensive because it's not a real thing. And so it's just this like fake, you're selling her snake oil basically by suggesting abundance. And, it's like, oh, I could feel all of this like pressure in my throat and in my neck. And it's like, it feels like so much grief. Like there's so much grief for her around, maybe trusting in abundance and it didn't come through for her, that somewhere along the line, the world proved to her that abundance is not real. And just like, oh, what terrible grief. So releasing that, which of course like releases for you too. And yeah, but everything keeps coming back to these ovaries. It just feels like abundant ovaries. So okay, that's great. Abundance. It's funny because even when I just like call that, back into the conversation, it just feels like this is so ridiculous. But it's almost like an old cartoon. I'm trying to think of like cartoons from like when we were kids. Melanie and I are 80s children, but like the old cartoons where it would just be, where it'd just be like music playing and it's like a plate and a fork and they're like dancing around and like
Yeah.
And it's like I can see it's like that same. I wish I could draw like it's that same like quality of animation, but it's like your ovaries and they're in like little like tap shoes, just like life is abundant, like they're just so like happy and it's just like so hilarious, this idea. But it also feels, I mean, they have like little rosy cheeks and just like little eyelashes, like just these two little girls like tap dancing in your abdomen. I don't know, it's so ridiculous, but it feels really joyful. But like, what is the word? It feels, I guess, like a celebration probably is the word. It just feels like party time, like in your abdomen. And yeah, just like, again, that word potential that it keeps coming back is just like anything is possible. And it's almost just like, again, this sort of indulgent abundance where it's just like, pick off the menu. What do you want? Like, you want kids? Cool. Order a number 3, like, whatever you want like a singing career, great, like just pick it all off the menu and we'll make it happen. These little like magical ovaries. So yeah, I love that. That's so cute. Is there anything that's coming up for you? And then I'm going to check and see if there's like anything else.
I mean, I when you say it, I love it. It like feels true. It like feels like that connected piece where I told you like stepping into a different belief system. And I got what you said when I was saying that. And you're like, no, there is no different belief system. Like this is what it is. You just like, this is the reality. You're just brainwashed that something else was the reality, but it's not. Like the reality is abundance. But like it's my block that's keeping me from that, which is my,
I mean, like conditioning. Yeah.
conditioning. Yeah. So I feel that like when you say it, I feel that pull to like be there, and it feels peaceful. It doesn't feel like there feels like there's struggle in staying in this belief system. In my mom's belief, feels like that. Like it's very hard to stay here. And it feels like what you were saying, like doing nothing brings me into that peaceful area. But it's like I don't trust it. So I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where this like root chakra stuff I think is going to be really important to shift that give you that sense of safety and give you that trust. And I'm so glad you said trust, because this all started with this impulse to bring myrrh and the consciousness of myrrh and that like divine feminine into this. But it didn't stop there. And I'm just going to like put a little I can't like access my abdomen, but so I'll just inhale it and we'll just send it down to the ovaries. But it didn't stop there. There were two others. It was just your body wanted myrrh for that like maternal and motherhood and divine feminine. It wanted rose, which is like the unconditional love oil. Just gonna roll some rose. And also I think rose is also like that also has that sort of quality of the divine mother. Although it feels even bigger than that. Like myrrh would sort of be the divine mother. Rose is kind of like the entire infinite, all living cosmos. And but geranium is the oil of trust. I'm just gonna put that like on the left side of the heart. Oh, because geranium is so good for trust issues. And yeah, there was a very specific call, and it was just like trust, 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 trust. And I was like, okay, I'll take you with me. But yes, I'm so glad you said that, because that just reminded me that, yeah, can't trust it. And of course you can't, like you've been conditioned. It was dangerous to trust. So anchoring that root chakra, calling in like that Mother Earth, really grounding you into that. And then that's going to sort of like, can't help but influence like that heart chakra and trusting. It doesn't seem like there's anything else there. So yeah, so maybe we'll just stop there with a little integration. If you want to close your eyes, maybe just one hand over your heart and one over your abdomen. And then I'm going to put one over the base of my spine. And just integrating this beautiful balance today. Calling in so much maternal energy. Mother Earth, who is overseeing your human experience. Really feeling yourself anchored into the earth below you, held by Mother Earth, cradled by the earth. Unconditionally loving arms of Mother Earth holding you, never letting you go. I always think of gravity, this miracle of gravity. Mother Earth will never let you go. You're never going to just fly off into space. Mother Earth is always holding you. And just feeling that way down, like from your abdomen and into the base of your spine and down through your legs. Knees, calves, ankles, feet, all the way down, stretching down, connecting to that core of the earth, that beautiful, unconditionally loving center. Mother Earth holding you there, holding all your hopes and dreams for this lifetime. And she is working on them. She never sleeps. And helping to keep you nourished and fueled for this life experience, and also sending you resources that support all of your hopes and dreams and gifts and talents. Sending you people and opportunity. But also it feels like there is like a physiological support here. So there's that real like Mother Earth like a physiological intervention where she is literally will be sending you, the right foods for you, the right supplements for you, the right like healthcare and personal care products, and the right doctors or anyone who will help to support your body and help your body to perform optimally as a vehicle for your hopes and dreams. And so you don't have to, feels like it's relieving you of some responsibility to be seeking out answers and resources in that way, and that you are being sent everything that you need. And also that there is that consciousness of absorption, which feels important today, that we've boosted that ability so that when these things do come your way, you are, I guess it's also just part of that consciousness of receiving. Absorption really is just another manifestation of receiving. So in every way, we are amplifying your ability to receive today. So really, really nourishing your body today.
It's 17:30.
Thank you, computer. Beautiful connection to Mother Earth, nourishing you. And it feels really like cellular, really like hydrating. And I'm tapping this out, head, heart, gut, and this helps to align those energy centers, calibrate the body, integrate everything that we're cleansing and balancing. Nice deep breaths, engaging the diaphragm. And then also from your heart, feeling this like cosmic mother coming down, accessing her. She's blessing you from above down through the top of your head, that crown chakra. Just feeling her beautiful, magical twinkle light love blessing you down through your third eye and your brow, blessing you with clarity and vision. Down through your throat, blessing your self-expression, blessing you as you advocate for yourself and your needs, blessing you as you ask for help, ask for your needs to be met. And then down through your neck and shoulders, your upper back, down through your arms and hands, relieving your hands. I can feel a release in your palms, relieving your hands from having to do so much work. Our hands are so much like that point of contact as we move through the world. So relieving your hands can rest, your arms can rest, your shoulders can rest, your back can rest. Feels like this is impacting that shoulder blade too, and your back. Everybody can rest. Relieving you from responsibility and just feeling into your heart, that beautiful love from above flowing into your heart, settling, making a home in your heart. Just feeling expansion there. Beautiful place of receiving. And again, relieving you of responsibility. You know, you have such a beautiful heart that does so much for others. And so inviting your heart to just rest and receive. And it really, there's this consciousness of like indulgence and pampering, like a diva. Just whatever that looks like that maybe it feels like you're being such a diva, just sitting and receiving, but that is actually how you're designed to be. That really, when you're in that energy of really indulgent receiving and just taking from your source, your higher power, this cosmic mother who loves you and wants to shower you, it feels like this will be reassuring to you. You know, that beautiful maternal energy, like it's a joy. It's a joy for that mom to do for you. You know, like moms just, they just love to do for their children. They get energy from it. It's good for them, you know, it fills their heart. So um we're bringing that into this, that when you are in that state of receiving, that you actually are like, you are amplifying love on so many levels. It's all trickling out into the universe as you receive from that unconditionally loving source. It amplifies the capacity for love, like in the world. Like it just has huge ramifications for like amplifying love in the entire world. So like your receiving is actually a service to the world. It feels like maybe you need to hear that as like an excuse for receiving, that it's a service. When you allow that cosmic mother to do for you, it's like she as a force of love like amplifies. So yeah, it's like a very important relationship um, for the entire, all of existence. So just saying thank you for that to this like sweet cosmic mom. And if there's anything on your heart that you want to like ask her for, if there's anything that's coming up for you, you don't have to say it out loud. You can just take a moment. If there's anything that you would like to receive, that you wish to receive, or maybe that you would like help, if it feels uncomfortable asking, you can just ask her, like, help me be more comfortable receiving, or help me ask for this thing that I want. This is really sweet. I see her holding you, like holding you so close that you're like curled into her and she's holding you so close, and your head is like right near her ear. And she's saying, it's okay, just whisper it to me. Like it's, you know, it's our little secret. Like you tell me everything you want and need, and don't be shy about it. Just whisper. And it feels like that is almost like there's a resistance from you again around, you know, like it's selfish to ask, or like almost like to say it out loud would be very brazen and selfish. And so she's like, it's okay, just
I asked her for confidence. I feel like I lack that.
Yeah. That's interesting, because it feels like the only thing we haven't touched today. I'm so glad you said that. We have managed to go through the entire chakra system, which I wasn't expecting to do, but solar plexus, that center, you can't really see where I'm pointing, but the center there, solar plexus is that seat of empowerment, that fire. And we see that also often we, that is called up when we're talking about like identity, really grounding into like I am, like the truth of who you are. So it feels really powerful that you just identified that. So yeah, it's like not just confidence, but it's like feeling empowered in your identity as like a woman in this lifetime, and all that comes with that, and all the dreams you have for that. And so you just set that in motion, that is, you are being your like cosmic mom is like on it. Which is really sweet, because it just feels like, oh my god, like she's so excited to have a job to do. So cute. There's nothing sadder than like a mom who feels like she doesn't have a job to do. You know, like we hear that from moms all the time when they have like empty nest syndrome and stuff, and they're just like, but who am I? Like, this is what I just like, they get so much joy from doing. So that's where the doing is going. It's like we're taking all of this doing that you've been doing and we're giving it to her because it's good for her to do it. It's like this misplaced doing. Like she's sad because she doesn't get to do. So like now she has lots to do and you have nothing to do. And everything, order has been restored. Love that. All right.
That is so powerful.
Yeah.
I see that stuff coming up.
I'm just going to do, while you sit for a second, I'm just going to do one last little tapping balance. And for anyone watching, I'm doing what's called the cortices technique. And I'm going through the different lobes of the brain, just using like the electromagnetic frequency from the hands. Our hands are very powerful. And just this tapping has like a physiological benefit of kind of recalibrating the brain, sort of downloading, giving the body this like new memo, downloading this balance and really like getting the brain on board. And this feels like, I don't always do this, but this feels like an important one to do. It feels like this correlates to this, like this desire to be rewiring the brain. And so this is literally engaging like the left and right hemispheres of the brain and basically just like updating all the lobes of the brain. And with them, tapping head, heart, and gut, because we have the heart also has has a relationship with the nervous system. There is a nervous system of the heart and there is a nervous system in your gut. And so just like updating the entire nervous system, rewiring. All right.
I did it too.
It feels like there's one last, oh good. It just feels like maybe there would be benefit from like a glass of water or something. It feels like there's this call to like, flush, hydrate. And water, I know that like water is you have like a powerful relationship with water. And so that's like the last thing I just got was like water. So I don't know, it could be drinking it feels like it's necessary to like drink a glass of water, but also, I don't know, like listening to sounds of water or taking a bath or a shower or something like that.
It's interesting you said that because I've been so thirsty. My lips are dry, my mouth is dry, and I just want to drink all the water.
Yeah, it feels like there's a little
hydrating the ovaries and everything. I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm dehydrated. It's crazy that you said that.
Yeah, it feels like there's a little like hydration piece. Which is interesting.
Hot water earlier to like warm me up.
Yeah. Which is crazy too. And I forgot this. And before I stop the recording, I will just close and say, I completely forgot that I had this cup of tea. So when I was choosing the oils and it was like myrrh, rose, geranium. And then I also had this very specific instruction. It was like, make a cup of rose tea. And I was like, oh, okay. Which is so weird because this came up in another healing that I did recently, but like very different, like rose tea came up for her as well in like a completely different way. But it was like, it felt like this was necessary for me. It was like, this is going to be a potent one and you're going to need like some support, which is funny because of course I douse myself in oils and I do all kinds of things to ground myself before a session, but it was like, have some rose tea nearby. And now it's like, the whole session, I forgot it was there. And like now at that very end, when I told you to hydrate, it was like, drink your rose tea. Like this is what it's for. So you will hydrate with water and I'm hydrating with rose. So it feels like, okay, I'm doing this somehow for you. I don't know. We're giving you another dose of roses, getting it in the system in another way. That feels really good. Ooh, all right. Any last words?
I feel like I feel like I have to tell you that for a lot of the session, I kept getting a vision of being on a tightrope.
Mm.
And like there's the two sides, and I don't want to open it up because I know we're ending, but it was
No,
side. And it's like I came from one side and I'm in the middle and I'm holding, which is so weird. All the things you said something about gravity and like I, yeah, like this fear of gravity, like that I'm going to fall. And I'm just, and you said my hands could relax when you were doing, my eyes were thinking, I'm holding so tight to this thing to balance me. And I feel like I walked out on the tightrope trusting, but I got there and I don't trust. And it's like I can't go back, but I'm not quite at the other end to like use the ladder to go down. So I'm kind of just stuck out on this tightrope holding on so tightly, you know, and just all the things you were saying about you can let your hands relax and you can just let mother's love and earth and like the confidence piece and just all these, I don't know, it just all came together. But I had been having that vision throughout the whole thing of, and it's a man on a tightrope, which is me, but it's a man.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you just said that. Finish your thought and then I'm going to.
Because you were saying like this feminine energy and bringing in the feminine energy. And the whole time I'm like, yeah, because the man on the tightrope is me. And I don't know why I'm a man on a tightrope.
I do.
You do. Like my ovaries and like, they're not, I'm not in my feminine. Like, I don't know. Just all this stuff. It's just so crazy. Like the whole session and the weird things that I'm getting and how I identify, you know, because I don't identify as a man at all. I just, but energetically I do or something. I don't know.
Yes. Oh my God, that's so crazy. And I love this because I love that you were like, I'm really sorry to say this piece. I don't want to open things back up because we're all done. But it's like, it's always so perfect. And it makes me so happy. I'm so glad we're recording this because I love for people to see like, oh my gosh, this is so, like I'm not in charge of this session. I literally am just like the messenger. Like, I don't know. It's so great when it's like the session takes on a life of its own in that way. It never fails to do that. So you're reminding me that before the session even began, and I think I texted you and I was like, I just had this, like, I had this immediate, like awareness that it was like, oh, this session is going to have to do with like divine assistance. Which is funny because like I got that sort of intuitive hit, but I really had no sense of what I never imagined it would look like this. Like I had no sense that it would be all this like maternal stuff.
Neither.
But
anything about my mom stuff was gonna come up.
I never, ever thought, I don't know what I was expecting, but it was not this. But what did come to me was like divine assistance and it was like letting go, laying down the masculine energy. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what that looks like, how that sort of plays out. Cause I could see that for Melanie, like that real masculine. And so, and I completely, and then it's like never came up again until right now. So I'm so glad you brought it up because yes, that masculine energy, you know, like feminine and the receiving always sort of correlates to the moon and that, you know, that very sort of like, you know, there's that sort of serenity of just like sitting and receiving and that, I don't know, there's something about the moon for me that is there's like a quietness to it, you know. And masculine is associated with doing and the sun, and you know, just how the sun is like just like that energy and like go and make everything happen and like fueling, you know, results and change and all of this stuff. And so it definitely feels like there is a lunar sort of aspect to this like cosmic mom, like that, like this like real just beautiful quiet like serenity and like dialing down that everything we've done, all of this messaging around like less doing, more receiving, that really is like shifting you out of that masculine and moving into this more feminine, or, just balancing them. We have masculine and feminine in us, and they're both very productive. There's a time for doing and there's a time for receiving. That masculine energy is great. It's what keeps us motivated and like gets shit done. But dialing that down, because it feels like that masculine for you, it's just very fear driven. Where it's like doing, because it's not safe to not do. So really dialing that down, which is amazing. So I'm not surprised that it was a man who's on the tightrope, because that doing is very distinctly like masculine and fear-based. So yeah, that's amazing. It definitely feels like that was shifted. And I love, because it's funny when I was saying like, the love coming down and through your arms and hands, and it was like, ooh, I could just feel, it was like just gripping, like the palms, like just so tightly gripped, which is also just visually, I love, I often recommend when we're doing work around receiving, I'll always recommend open your hands. And like when you're praying or meditating, just like very consciously, like, ooh, that sort of relaxed, open palms, and just the difference in that energy of like closed, fists, or, my folded arms or whatever, versus like, ooh, and sometimes it can feel really scary. Like it feels very vulnerable to open like that. But like, yeah, just sort of as just that gesture of willingness that like, okay, I'm willing to receive. I am open for business. I'm open to receive. So yeah, it just felt like that was really important to like release that grip, because there was literally like energetically like nothing can get in like that. Or I don't want to say nothing. It's never nothing. Like I said, we are always loved, and the universe will always find some way in. But more, like there's just more when we kind of like open the body and open the heart. So it feels like there was also that kind of consciousness of like, like kind of falling open, which felt really good, like expansion.
I literally just felt like that when you said open your hands, because my hands have been closed as we're talking about it. And so when you just did that, I just opened my hands, and then I was holding them up, so the camera then could see that they're open, but then I just let them rest right here, like on the side of my laptop, like open, put them down. And I felt my shoulders like open, and I felt my heart feel like it was opening. And like this whole session like that, I just felt it. Like I just felt all that, everything you were saying about opening. And it's just like a matter of changing even my physical structure.
Yes.
Talking about it.
I love that as like
holding and tight and gripping. And then when you said it feels very vulnerable to open and like expose my underbelly and my
I mean, the body is so powerful in that way. And I love that it's kind of like an energy healing, like hack, sometimes it really is just a change in posture. Like a lot of times we find like people will hunch, which is literally, and it will raise cortisol levels, because the body receives that as like, we're in fear mode, like we're protecting the heart, like that is a stance primally that we take when we're like protecting the heart from like an arrow or something, or like a bear. So just to be like, okay, God, I'm willing, if prayers fail you, or anyone who feels like, I don't know what I think about the universe, or a connection, like a spiritual connection or whatever, if that feels like too big a leap to like say a prayer, there is an inherent prayer in just like, I'm just gonna like stand up straight and roll my shoulders and like open my chest and like, whoo, just like make myself available. I'm just going to open my palms and like, all right, make myself available. I'm going to let my feet fall open. If you're laying down, like, can I just like release my legs a little bit, let my feet fall open, things like that. And it's amazing what that can do and how vulnerable it can feel, like how powerful it can be. Just a simple change in posture. And even breath too, it could just be a practice. Again, if anyone's on the fence with like spiritual stuff, just breathing, just connecting to breath, because we spend so much of the day like breathing very shallowly, which again, the body receives as like, whoa, we must be like in trouble, or, like there's like a sort of a vigilance that goes along with that. Like, just breathe very shallowly and lightly. And, the body receives that as like stressful. So just to be aware of that, and maybe like a couple times throughout the day, just be like, am I breathing? And just stop and really like open the diaphragm, take some deep breaths, and sort of consciously like invite life in, invite support in, like, okay, I am willing to take a deep breath and do that contrary action of like, I'm willing to take a deep breath, which is sending a message of like, I'm willing to be relaxed. I'm willing to be received. I'm willing to do less, if that makes any sense, which is just such like a powerful message to send. I love that, because we really don't have to do much of anything at all. I mean, the entire infinite cosmos is like right there, like just wants to assist us and shower us with like affection and attention and support, and basically like do everything for us. It's just a matter of like just tiny little like, can I just create a tiny opening, a tiny bit of willingness, and a tiny, just the willingness to receive even is all that's necessary. That feels really good. I mean, my body feels like, I feel like I could just like drop right into bed. Like my body feels
exactly
like
how I feel.
So relaxed. It's just like, it'll be funny after this to like get up and stand. I think I'm gonna be like so disoriented when I like get up and stand, which is wonderful. That's how it should be. We should just be like spaghetti people all the time and like let the universe figure it out. That's awesome. What do we need muscles for? I don't need muscles. I'm not doing anything anymore. I'm just receiving. It's great. All right. And with that, thank you so much. I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you, Heidi.
Love you.
So powerful.